Thursday was World Passport Day, Password Day, I should say, but it appears many of us are still not taking online threats seriously. Tech expert Djuro Sen joins me now. Djuro, can you tell us why aren't Australians worried more that their passwords are going to be hacked?
Janie, it's a really good question, and it comes down to psychology. I don't think people really subconsciously think that it's a threat to them because they don't see the physical danger. But I can tell you, having done a lot of these stories about things like ransomware, that once you are impacted by this, you lose your life savings, other things like that, your security, maybe your ID is stolen, then you will never forget it and always change your passwords. But this LastPass survey, and these companies all do these surveys, but I actually use LastPass as my password manager, so I was really interested to see how this goes. It did an international survey, and a survey included Australian people as well, and they said that 90% of people realised that they shouldn't be using their old passwords, and yet 79% or so, or 70% or so, realised or told us that they still do it. So they know they shouldn't do it, but people are still doing it. And it really is a case that it doesn't feel like it's a tough issue. I mean, Janie, we've talked about passwords before. Now, I hope you've upped your game since we last spoke.
Well, I have, and some particular things actually make you change your passwords quite frequently. What about when you actually have on your phone and you have to use your thumbprint to go into the phone system? Yep. How safe is that?
It's very safe because what happens is that your thumbprint is held as a hash on the actual phone itself. So there's a little enclave, a chip that between your thumbprint and the phone. They're the only things that know your fingerprint, and all the phone is doing is saying to a service, may it be a bank or something else like that, that it has authenticated you locally. So that business between your thumbprint and yourself is held locally, and you can't really hack it. So your thumbprints on your phones are good. Biometrics are really, really good, and I think that's where we're heading down the track. Passwords are really old technology in terms of what humans can do, so it's all about biometrics, which really means that we need to be able to give up some of our physical data, our eye print, our eye scanning, our fingerprints, all those sorts of things to make sure we are who we are.
So in terms of the passwords that are on that system, do we need to change them at all? We still need to.
Yes. So, yeah, we still need to change our passwords, especially when breaches are held. Like, there's something like 50% of people, when they see a breach, and you sent me an email the other day about all these breaches that have taken place. And Janie, if you get an email from some company that says we've had a password exposure, you should change your password. But here's one thing. Do not change your password by a link anytime unless you've initiated the communication. So that's the same with your mobile phone as well. Don't click on a link if you see it come through and you've never asked for it. If you asked for it 2 seconds ago, yeah, sure, but don't do it from a link that you haven't seen. And I had a couple of suspicious ones the other day, and I go through the header and everything. It's quite geeky to work out where it came from, and it will cause you all sorts of trouble if you do it. So don't click on links. And unless you were absolutely sure, you just organise that to come through.
Yeah, great advice, because some of those links can look legit, can't they? Djuro, Telstra is releasing some telling stats this week about scam callers.
Yeah, this is all related to what we've been talking about as well. The numbers from Telstra are extraordinary. Like 500,000 calls that are scam calls and SMSs a month. They are killing off before they even get to us. So if you're getting a lot of scam calls, you could be getting a whole lot more if Telstra weren't killing them off. So the banks are fighting this wall of crooks trying to get through to your money, and then our telcos are also fighting this war going on with people trying to get through to our phone numbers and through SMS. And don't forget, the SMS can deliver those links, which can download malware to your phone. So some of those stats are just extraordinary about how many messages they're killing off and scam calls as well.
And following from your interview last Sunday about manufacturing moving from China back to Australia as we recover from COVID-19, you've found an Aussie business already doing that.
Yeah, just before COVID really started to take its hold on the world, I spoke to Grant Petty and visited him in Melbourne. He is the CEO and founder of Blackmagic Design. And Blackmagic Design is an amazing company because they make cameras and software for Hollywood. So they're actually a big deal in the world. But they have factories around the world and in Australia, but they don't rely on China to make all their products. And I've actually got one of them on my desk right here. This is brand new, be great for sporting organisations and business who want to live stream events and use multiple cameras, and I've actually got one here. So I'm going to change cameras for you right now, and that is the board right there. You can record it directly to a hard drive here and stream it to YouTube, Facebook, to whatever your business wants to do as I switch back to camera one. So it's my own TV studio here. That's about $1,000. Australian-made products, Blackmagic Design, and they're showing away. I've got a story I've done. I'm going to hear from Grant later on Sky News today, but they know that it's really hard to do. So if Australians think they can just ramp up manufacturing locally like that, they've got another thing coming. It's going to take a long time, and the supply chain needs to be sorted out. You need to diversify it so you don't rely on just one country.
Great advice as always, and I know you're an avid fan of people downloading the COVID app. 5 million people have downloaded so far, so excellent. Thank you very much, Djuro. We've got to go, but we'll speak to you again next week.